Welcome, everybody. I am Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to change the world one brave word at a time around here. I'm a book publisher, and it is my greatest honor to publish world-changing wellness books that honor the business journey of my authors as much as the healing journey of the reader. You guys, you're going to find that our books have an awareness and an energy that inspires your biggest, juiciest, best possible life. And man, do I have a treat for you guys today. The authors of a new book called The Ancestors Within, Reveal and Heal the Ancient Memories You Carry, are here with me to talk about ancestral healing, an incredible, powerful topic. You guys, reading this book, it took me to another level of possibility when it comes to healing. I'm so excited to be introducing you to the amazing authors and master teachers stepping up in this book. So please help me welcome Ashrae Allen is a master healer in service to helping people live their most spiritually aligned, radiantly healthy life. Noah Smith is awesome. And that is his bio, you guys. Michelle Troop is the owner of Earth Angel Healing LLC, offering services to remember who you are as you shift into higher levels of consciousness. Welcome, you guys. How are you?
Good.
Terrific. Good. I'm so happy to have you here. We're going to have an amazing discussion about this topic today. Ashrae, I'm going to start with you. Tell everyone about this amazing chapter that you wrote.
Thank you, Laura. Again, my name is Ashrae Allen, and I am the chapter author, chapter 3. And my chapter is entitled Bridging the Worlds. And it uses chakra weaving for healing ancestral ties. So I was inspired to write this chapter regarding the death by suicide of my father, and wanted to share the spiritual technology that I was able to utilize to access contact with his spirit then and now, and to heal the obvious trauma and shock that surrounded that decision that he made. Yeah.
You guys, I have to say thank you, first of all of you, for sharing such authentic, raw, real stories from your life and giving us an idea of how powerful this whole subject has been for you in your life. And Ashrae, that topic is one of the most intense, and it is going to be for readers too. Tell me a little bit more about the tool that you're offering.
Sure. So I've studied the chakra system for years, both as a yoga instructor and having studied with Anodea Judith, who's one of the seminal authors in the West regarding the chakra system. And I've just found it a beautiful tool to utilize to contact the spirit world as well, and to reach out from those centers to make contact. So I find that particularly with what I would call disenfranchised deaths that have taboo around them, that we need ways of healing that and ways of connecting with those spirits. I think we're told by some dogma that people who make the decision my father made are stuck in purgatory, are not able to be accessed. I personally don't carry that opinion. I found that he did transition well to where he needed to go, and that his spirit has remained accessible. So this is just something I wanted to speak particularly to suicide loss survivors, and trying to remove some of the stigma and taboo around that choice, and just to bring that out into the light and to speak about that. So the technology, again, uses the chakra system to make access with these ancestors. And it doesn't have to be a recent loss. It can be someone we never knew, we may or may not have a photograph of, but energetically, I found that we can reach out with our intention and still make connection.
So powerful, and a really powerful idea for people to understand. It doesn't have to be last week that this happened. It could be years, and there's an opportunity in that connection for such great healing. And thank you for being so brave in terms of this particular subject as well, because it can be heated for people. There are religious conversations that happen around this. And I just think that, one of the missions here is to have the conversations.
Right.
And hope, we do hope, we cross our fingers that people will be open-minded to having those kinds of conversations and understand. So thank you for being one of those brave souls.
Thank you for hosting the container to have those difficult conversations. And yes, I do think it's important that we all look at the deaths that we deem to be good deaths and the deaths we deem to be bad deaths, and really take a moment to examine our judgment around choice.
Yes.
And so I appreciate the opportunity there, and just also the opportunity to offer some healing techniques so that we can integrate trauma. Many of us experience deaths that have shock or trauma attached to them. Not all deaths were expected. Not all deaths happened the way we thought they would or when we thought they would. And so I think it's important to utilize healing that reaches into the realm of people's passing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Noah and Noah's mom, Sharon, I'm going to move on to you guys next. Noah, talk to us about this chapter that you wrote.
I am Noah. I am nonverbal, but use facilitated communication. Mom is my facilitator, but looking for telepathic assistance, laugh out loud. I can help many people with many energetic modalities, but most excited to reach others like me.
So Noah uses facilitated communication. Were you able to hear that okay?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. So he uses the letter board, and it's that mind-body disconnection that we're trying to connect. Noah is telepathic, but I am not. So I am a facilitator of facilitated communication. Since the writing of this book, he's met personally with 2 authors that are telepathic, and he's been able to communicate with them. So he is very excited to meet all of you. And if you even have an inkling of telepathy, he will help you work on that, because we need to be able to get the communication for the non-speaking autistics. Their mind is just at a different vibrational level. And we've just learned so much over the past year that we've been looking into this. He's done it forever, but just let us in as we started writing the book. So this is just a brand new chapter for us.
I'll
let Noah finish the questions.
The whole idea of this is so incredible, and I give you both kudos for being a team that's moving into the world to help other people and educate other people, and hopefully other parents and educators, right? What else do you want to tell us about that particular journey, and either from your perspective, Sharon, or Noah's?
Well, Noah just wrote something here that I wasn't expecting, just like our chapter in the book.
Mom is awesome too.
He said, Mom is awesome too.
We're going to change that bio. Noah and his mom are awesome. Yes.
Anything else you want to tell them, Noah? Yes. Yeah, he always has a lot to say here. It'll just take a second.
Yes, of course. When I read the chapter, I was really opened wide up about the possibility for others as you guys go into the world and teach people, how to help people do this, what you're doing. It was quite profound for me to read your chapter. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. All right, he is ready.
Okay.
Yes, love the energy here and from these authors.
Yeah, he loves the energy here and from the authors. And I'm sure you all know the yawn is not out of boredom. He is working energy all the time. I mean, nonstop. And I know with the release of this book, it's going to even be more. So we're working on how to rein some of that back. So as a brand new healer, as far as letting people know, he's helping everybody. So this is where we need all of the help to learn from each other on how do we control this.
Yes, of course. I mean, in the healer world, healthy boundaries, energetic boundaries are so important. I mean, everybody as a provider a healer, a helper, right? Anyone has to think about their own healthy boundaries so that they don't burn out with all of that magic that is happening through them all the time. Thank you, Sharon and Noah. We're going to come back around to you guys and ask you some more questions.
Thank you.
In just a minute. Michelle, tell us about your beautiful chapter.
My chapter is chapter 13, and it's the heart space, the portal to ancestral healing. So my chapter came about as I started to write the chapter. The floodgates opened. So a lot of things were rolling through. But the one thing that stuck with me was a moment in time where I was standing in front of the mirror after doing a lot of energy work. So I've been going within. So my practice is going within. And in doing so, everything for me is from the heart. I had done a lot of that work, and I had gotten out of the shower. And for me, water is a strong conduit for connection. I looked into the mirror, and for about 10 seconds, my face disappeared, and there was my grandfather's face. I never knew my grandfather. He died when I was 4. And I didn't really have a connection with many of my grandparents. But it was in that moment that all the work that I had been doing to help heal and work through my stuff, lost my earbud, has led to my connection, to finally connecting with an ancestor. Because up until that moment, I was not able to connect with any of my loved ones or on the other side. So my technique is drawn off of my experience with that, with my grandfather, and how I connect in general with my higher self, and energetically, which is through the heart. And heart's the seat of the soul.
That's beautiful. You're making me think about this a little bit. And another thank you that I'll put out to all of you is, it's one thing to teach, and y'all teach people and educate people and your clients all day long. You're really good at it, but that's one thing. But it's another thing altogether to bring it into print in a book in a way that the reader has that practical, awesome experience just from reading your beautiful words. And so I thank you for stepping up to that challenge and doing it so beautifully with these tools. The heart and the energetic field of the heart, right, Michelle? So tell me more about that.
So one of the things, and actually I wanted to mention Noah here because, and it's interesting because I found a really strong connection with Noah and Ashrae, because I knew when I was writing this, one of my concerns, as I was writing it, I felt as if I was connecting with all the authors, but I felt as if I knew what everybody was writing about. So I have, through my grandfather and the native side, I've been developing my telepathic abilities. And I know that when we move out of the head and into our heart, that's when there's peace, that's when there's calm. And that's when, that's just the seat of our soul. That's where all of our experiences are from all lifetimes, whether you want to call it past lives, anything with your ancestors. That's where you connect with everything. That the heart is your living vessel. It's your energetic living vessel. And grounding for me is through my heart. So there's times where it's like crazy or a lot of crazy things are going on. I'm like out of the head into the heart, and I move into the heart. And as I'm in my heart, I ask to live and take action from my heart, and all connection be through my heart. And
I love that, Michelle. I
Yeah.
always think about grounding as my belly button area. So it's a little lower than the solar plexus for me, but I like the idea of being able to ground through that heart energy too. And of course, it's so cool to be able to talk about connecting and grounding and centering in all of the different ways we are offering in terms of all these different unique stories and tools, right? Because there's a million people and we need a million different ways to be able to help people do it. So I love that. I want to stick with you for this next question that I'm going to get around to all of you about. And I think you can already tell, like, I love understanding what's possible in terms of healing. And what I'd love for you to do, Michelle, is talk to me about something you realized was possible in terms of your healing when you started to dabble with ancestors and ancestral healing.
Okay, so, well, one of the things I knew was possible is to have that connection and actually see it. So that's when I was in the mirror and saw it. But as I was doing more of it, what I had noticed, especially after writing the book, I was connecting with other ancestors as I was writing. And after writing it, I went back home. I went back to New Jersey to visit my family. And I usually stay with my mom and dad. I started to notice a strong shift between the relationship with me and my mother and me and my father. And I've had some tough things happen over the years, family oriented. And, but then I watched the interaction between my mom and dad. They weren't bickering. It was for the first time between the three of us. I felt like there's no competition for attention, you know, who you're paying attention to more. And it was just so much more peaceful. And then I ended up with even a bigger and greater healing and connection with a young man who had passed when he was 18, who happened to have committed suicide. So that connection came in even stronger. And I know he's here now because Laurie said, "Are you ready, Freddie?" And that was my famous, I would always say to him, "Are you ready, Freddie?" He's like, "My name's not Freddie, it's Joey." So
that's awesome.
But yeah, so in every moment, it's just the healings are everywhere, but they got stronger, especially after writing this book. Really strong with my family.
Yeah,
So.
awesome. Awesome. I love it. Noah, I want to ask you the same question. What are you guys realizing is possible in terms of healing when you're connecting with the ancestors?
He had something prepared, so I'm going to play this and then I'll get to that one.
Okay.
These ladies are truly beautiful, but connect with us in different ways. We have friends who relate to their stories who need to relate specifically to better understand. OMG, we are all connected in this book, and in energy and in the heart.
Could you hear that okay?
I love it, yes.
Yes. Yeah, he was so excited as Michelle was talking. It's like, oh my, and I'm feeling, it's like, yeah, we're all on the same page. You're all feeling that same energy.
Yes.
Okay, well, repeat the question and I'll have him answer that. I think that may have addressed some of it, but what was the question again?
Definitely. Well, I just love understanding what's possible, and dabbling with ancestral healing makes you realize just what's possible. And I was curious what he may have realized was possible.
Give us just a minute. This is going to be good.
I'm enjoying hearing the electronic OMG. I love it. And the connection and in the collaboration between the authors for this book, especially, you guys know I've done a couple before this, has been really thick, intense, magical, amazing, like really amazing. And I joke about that because I use the A words a lot: amazing, awesome. But it is like, I can't help myself, right?
Okay, he's ready.
Okay.
Laugh out loud. I didn't need to repeat. Mom did. Laugh out loud. communication as any form is possible.
Okay. So communication in any form is possible. I say I'm not telepathic, but I am definitely on the path. I'm getting the feeling, and we talked with Amy about that yesterday, and it is teachable. It is remembering things that we've been able to do in the past, from our ancestors. And so for me to realize this as the mom, as an outsider, it's like, oh my gosh, these are the readers you're reaching to, people like me.
Yes.
And so I'm very excited.
That's a part of exactly what I'm excited about as well. We're going to reach people who really need to hear that message, and it's going to make a difference for so many people. Thank you. Ashrae, how about you? What's something you realized was possible when you started to dabble with this kind of healing?
I think when I first got into ancestral healing, one of the things that excited me the most was the realization that we have the opportunity to heal intergenerational trauma. So the idea that trauma is passed down through our DNA, the idea that trauma is something that we actually didn't directly experience it, that it still can become a part of our energetic makeup, our physical makeup, our mental, emotional, spiritual makeup. And that understanding we actually do have the capacity to heal at that level, at the level of DNA inheritance, was pretty profound for me. And also just the idea that healing doesn't stop when the body transitions to wherever we go from here, that just because we lose the corporal form doesn't mean that suddenly my father can't receive healing. In fact, that there's a part of us that remains accessible to both giving and receiving healing. So that too is also really profound for me to not only realize, but to directly experience.
Oh my goodness, yes. This is, and it's so great if we can, as a regular part of our awareness practice, this is the next question for all of you, okay? When we stay curious and open-minded about what's possible, right? And the questions I'm asking myself, if I can drop back into curiosity, that's half the battle sometimes, rather than going right to a reaction of judgment or conditioned belief or thinking about something. And I love it. It excites me. So Ashrae, I'm actually going to stick with you for this one, and then I'll come back around to Noah and then Michelle. Awareness is so important, and I would say foundational for this journey. Like if we're interested in a juicy, full, vibrant life, this is the foundation of it. So talk to me about awareness in terms of your own personal journey. How important has it been? Tell us about that. Awareness
Of what specifically? I just want to make sure I'm understanding the question.
In general, your awareness practice. What does that look like in the life of Ashrae?
Okay. Well, in terms of awareness, which I guess I'm interpreting as consciousness, that I would say a daily practice, having a daily spiritual practice is tantamount. And that for me, that usually looks like meditation. And meditation to me is our capacity to have direct communication with our soul. And so when we go into the inner world, in Sanskrit, we can say iham, going in, idam, going out, iham, idam. And that in order to have that flow to the outside world, we have to cultivate and nurture awareness of our inner landscape. And we usually only can do that when we get quiet. And I won't say still, I practice instinctive meditation, which really allows householders, people who are involved in the world, not to adopt monastic meditation traditions, which is largely what's happened here in the West, which is why many people say, I don't know, I tried to meditate and it didn't work for me. I couldn't clear my head. Well, the idea in instinctive meditation taught by Lorraine Roche and Camille Morin is that the object of meditation is actually not to make the mind go blank. That's not how we cultivate awareness. And one of the key components of understanding awareness is to realize that awareness has a rhythmic and cyclic nature. So one moment we might be going over the grocery list, and the next moment we might be just tuning into the pulse of our hearts. And the next minute we might find we have a profound spiritual realization, and the next moment we might feel like, oh, my butt's getting kind of numb sitting here. So in all of that, to welcome all of that, and that's all awareness, and that none of it is lesser or greater than. So I think that's the best way I could answer that. Thank you for that question.
Oh my goodness, I could talk about this one all day long. So instinctive meditation, cool. I hadn't heard it talked about that way before. And you said the other kind, and I can't remember the word you used.
The other kind of, monastic maybe?
Monastic, yes.
Monastic. So if we think about, I have to sit with my spine straight, I have to renounce the world, take vows of chastity, take vows of poverty, right? For many of us, that's not the life that we're living. And so if we adapt those monastic ways of meditation, chances are that shoe's not going to fit.
Yes, okay.
Which is not to berate anyone's practice. Hey, if that works for you, go for it. But
right.
For many people, it doesn't.
What works, right? Whatever works. Yes, I love it. I read a best book I read about meditation was called True Meditation by Adyashanti. And it was really the idea that every single moment of our life is an opportunity to meditate. It was really about mindfulness and just allowing yourself to rest in the moment, whatever was going on, and be with the sensation of it and watch those sensations, watch the thoughts, so I love that. That's been a game changer for me.
Go ahead. I'm glad.
Michelle, talk to us about awareness in terms of your journey.
So I'm exactly right where Ashrae's at. My awareness depends upon the type of activity that I'm doing. So I could be walking on the beach, just sitting by water. And I like to take in everything that's around me. I also like to talk to my guides, angels, universe, creator, source, and ask for synchronicities. Especially when one of my favorite things is when I'm driving in a car. So I like to take in the scenery, but I get a lot of things through songs and through license plates, billboards, a van driving by, and it may say, "See clearly." So, and for me, it's the little things that brings me the most excitement in my day. And I can get to my destination and be like, most people are like, "Oh, terrible driving me." I'm like, yes, I saw this, I got this. And it helps me be present. Because most of my life I was always very ungrounded. And one of the other things that I love to do that helps me, and I did it in the process of writing this book, because it really helped me stay calm about it, because my first book was very nervous. And helped me gather my thoughts was I love jigsaw puzzles. And I love putting pieces together, but I like helping people put pieces together. And when I do that, I go out, like I zone, and I'm just in a very good space. Same with, and then jewelry's my other thing. That's my activity that keeps me. And as Ashrae said, when I talk to people and clients, I always say to them, and to her point, everybody would say, "Well, I can't meditate. I can't sit still." I'm like, it's not what I do. I have an activity, and the best activity for me, and I feel, is creativity. So you sit, you do something creative, and you're just in that zone, and you're at space of peace, and you look up and you look at the clock and you're like, "Oh my God, where'd the time go?" Like, wasn't I just here for about 3 hours? And you weren't. So that's how I think of awareness. And when you can see the synchronicities in life, you can take the time to just be with where you're at in any given moment. Even if it's something that's not the greatest, but when you can find that space to just be present with it, that's awareness.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Answers come easier too.
Yes, they do.
More clear.
Noah, what does your awareness practice look like?
All right, you ready?
Thank you, lovely ladies. Dear friends, I hope to meet all of you, healers, autistics, and moms. Good to find a community that believes in and accepts each other for its own abilities and gifts. Believe to achieve. Get out of your own head and feel with your heart. Hugs and kisses because XOXO says XOXO, laugh out loud.
Okay. He's got more because now okay, go ahead. It's going to take just a minute.
No problem. I know that my own awareness practice has evolved, of course, over the years. The more I trusted what I was sensing and learned how to observe rather than react or judge right away. And the practice gets easier, it gets faster, it gets more powerful, right, as we go.
Yeah.
So it's a profound journey. And once you're there, you can't really go back. I always joke with people. It's like, once you're on there, that hawk flies by now, dives at my windshield. I'm like, whoa, thank you for that message. That's one of mine.
Love it.
The big birds show up.
Sorry, this is going to be a lot.
He's still writing about it. I know.
Yeah.
It's a juicy topic.
Yes, it is. Okay. We'll give you the gist. He's different in his energy. I'll let him finish.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to play this.
Please, this energy is overwhelming. And love Michelle's outlook on creativity is yes, mom does word games. Am different.
Yeah, am different. But I know where he's going with this because we just had this conversation. I don't meditate, and people are trying to get me to meditate to get there. And I do word games. And another friend of ours, she does word games, but she's 73. I'm 53. And so Noah was saying, yes, word games are good for you to keep your mind active, but mom's brain is too active. But I think you just made an aha moment for him because I am different from him. His energy, he will be in the tub, or he has his routine. And a lot of that's the autism. But his energy is just going all the time. He's at a different vibrational level from what we're learning, and he doesn't turn it off, where we have to get where he is. So we're kind of opposites in that. So still very, very learning experience, which is why he's loving connect. And I'm loving connecting with all of you to get all of your insights. And so did you have something else? I know he's sending are either one of you telepathic? Can any of you pick up what he's saying?
I cannot claim that skill yet. No. As much as I'd love to say yes,
yeah.
I'm still working on opening up like that.
He just ha. He just gave you a ha.
Okay. Well, let's I want to go around. I have another question for all of you, and I think this is going to help the listeners too. I think, and Sharon, you touched on this already, because Noah it's there, the energy is there all the time. He's always processing, it's always moving through. It's overwhelming and can be tiring. And I think that one of my jobs as a healer is to take exceptional care of myself so that I can serve from an overflow, as somebody who kind of chooses the journey to help other people. And it's hard sometimes, those energetic boundaries, that's a real practice. And I wondered if you all would share one part of your self-care routine, just one powerful thing that you love to do for yourself, and why do you pick that one over and over? And believe me, I know that you all have a list of different things on your routines, but what would the one thing be? So Michelle, I'm gonna start with you, since you looked like you were thinking about it. What's one thing?
That's a good one, because one of the things I did mention, I take time to I make sure that I go walking. I think that's probably one of the biggest ones for me.
Yeah,
I have to have a
that one.
connection.
Stick
I-
with that one for a minute, because that, I think that the movement, especially walking in
Yeah,
nature, can be one
that's-
big,
yes.
powerful one. Yeah, tell me more.
So I either like to go out to the walk by or in the woods, or walk around a lake or a body of water. And then I just stand there and I reconnect. I connect to the earth. I work with grid lines. That's the worldly work that I do. So I have a very strong connection to the earth. It helps me rejuvenate. And I kind of can feel, I can just feel the earth. I can really connect with it. And it brings peace to my heart. And I get a lot of, I get answers. I can feel beings around me. It's just, it's peace. For me, it's peace. It's calming. And it may only be, I can do it for 10 minutes. I can go out in my backyard, stand in the path, stand there for about 5 minutes, connect with the earth, breathe in the air, and I show gratitude for every little thing, even the dirt I stand on, the leaves that are falling, the water that's in front of me, even the insects. So
Beautiful. I love that. That's one of mine as well. Noah, what do you do? What's one thing you do to take care of yourself?
Okay, here we go.
Powerlifting. Mind body forced barbell in Fishers, Indiana. We started as Special Olympics, but are adaptive yet inclusive. My parents work out with us too.
Yeah, so it started out with Special Olympics powerlifting, 2017. Noah had just started communicating in 2016. He was 18 when he started. This backstory. So we ended up moving across town because the school wouldn't accept facilitated communication. So once we moved, the school mentioned, hey, there's powerlifting, and little sister's like, I want to do that. You would think it was Noah. But Noah at the time was 320 pounds. And since then, with the powerlifting, and he did unified track and just everything with the communication, he's down to 170 pounds. And which is where the diet and everything came in. And it's like, oh my gosh, he's not just energy healing. He's that example of, look what, I can do as a nonverbal autistic. He chose the diet. He chose all this. And so we do the powerlifting with him, and we invite people to see us. And we've got a nice mix of people. We have one man in a wheelchair that's been doing it for several years. So he'll do the bench press. He's a friend of ours, and they all get the energy because they can feel Noah. They see it. And it's just a wonderful place, just friends. And
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Noah, for sticking with the journey to be able to achieve that. That's amazing. Yes, of course, physical exercise, good nutrition, foundational self-care, right? Super awesome. Ashra, how about you?
Well, thank you, Michelle. I totally agree. Walks in nature, and Noah, I love lifting weights. So thanks for mentioning those. And I would say that my primary modality is probably water. So spiritual baths and spiritual cleansing are huge for me. When I submerge myself in water, I can add herbs to the bath. I find that in water, the water will take what I ask it to please release from me. So even after working on my patients doing massage, just washing the act of washing my hands and asking the water to take away anything that's not beneficial to me, anything I may have picked up that's not mine, and just to restore the energy of my hands. But at night, I will often, very often, even in the summer, submerge myself in water. And I'm a big bath taker. So I find that spiritual cleansing in that way is very, very helpful.
I love it. We've had the bath as an answer in the past, and I love hearing about people's baths, about the different way that they're doing their baths and what they're using it for, and just really it's about your intention. And right, and so there's so many different ways to take a bath, you guys. Who knew? Like, who knew?
I would say for grievers in particular, I know after my father's passing, only the ocean really could hold that depth and degree of grief. And a lot of times the waves of the ocean are likened to the waves of grief. There's something that the ocean understands about grief. So I would offer that to grievers, that the ocean, if you can get to it, is super powerful.
Oh, I love that. Beautiful. To all of you amazing authors, thank you so much for what you're doing in the world, and for being here today to share it with everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
You guys, and let's please not forget to thank Amy Gillespie Doherty, who had a huge vision for this book. You guys, The Ancestors Within launches into the world on May 4th. So be sure to join us at 10 a.m. Eastern for our live stream book launch party with all of our authors. We're having that on the Brave Badass Healers Facebook page. They're going to be here to share their expertise and wisdom, and we're going to have some fun giveaways that day. And you guys, of course, are going to find all of the information about the authors that were here today down there in the show notes. We'll have their websites. You can explore, take a step further, get to know them a little bit better and what they're doing in the world. And one super amazing benefit is the Ancestors Within community on Facebook. So if you're listening and you want to come into the group and rub elbows with these amazing people and ask some questions and be there with the other readers of this book, come on and join us. The group link is down below as well. So lastly, if you're listening to this after May 4th, that means the book is ready and you should get your butt over to Amazon and pick up your copy today. You guys are not going to believe the beautiful wisdom, energy, stories, and tools that are in this book. So until next time, everybody, what if the thing you're still a little afraid to share is exactly the thing someone needs to hear to change or even save their life? It is time to be brave. Yes. You guys can explore all the Brave Healer offerings for healers ready to share their brave words with the world at bravehealer.com. And have a really good one, everyone. Thank you, authors.
Thank you,
Laura.
Bye.